You're watching Swipe. Fun fact, this week we're at the world's oldest continuously used military airfield, near the Avon in Wiltshire, and here's a little taste of what we'll be bringing you on this week's programme. Angela joins Footy star Francis Benali to try out a new sensor which could be a game changer. I meet this guy and find out what technology might help him break 4 world records. And if you're a fan of British heavy metal, you're going to love our games review. You could say there's a bit of a theme to this week's episode because 2 of our main items focus on improving performance through innovation. A little bit later, we're going to witness 2 men jumping out of a plane right here. But before then, we're going to catch up with Angela, who this week has been to meet a pretty well-known football coach to test out a new device that could give his team an advantage over their rivals.
Connected gadgets are playing a growing role in sport all over the world, from the UK's Football Premier League to the NBA and NFL in the States. Devices from Optimi, ViperPod and a host of other companies are now used by some of the best teams in the world. This sensor, designed for monitoring goalkeepers, is used by more than 400 sports organisations alone. It measures dives, jumps, acceleration and intensity, just one of many wearable offerings helping to track and optimise performance.
But it's only recently that this kind of technology is becoming more available at an amateur level. But just how useful are these devices to young budding footballers? Well, we've got the team to test some for us. We've got a pretty well-known coach to give us his thoughts too.
So finally, this is the ZEP football sensor. We're going to be tracking the stats of the guys today. It's going to track how fast they run, how far they run and how many times they touch the ball.
And how will we be able to view that data?
So it all connects to an app on your iPhone or your iPad, and we can review everything afterwards.
Brilliant.
So we're just going to pop the sensor into the back of the sleeve, which sits on the back of the calf. It's very light, and to be honest, the player won't even know it's there.
Great. Come on in, guys, let's go play some football.
OK, Chris, we've got the stats. Can you just talk us through these briefly?
Yep, so we've got the analysis of the distance that the players run, so 4.5 kilometres here, split by the 5-minute intervals. How many kicks, so 74 kicks within the game, how many times they sprinted, their maximum sprint speed and the maximum kick speed.
OK, so judging from that, Franny, how useful would this be? Would you use something like this?
Well, there seems to be a lot of data in there straight away, doesn't it? I mean, it would be interesting to know if the information tells you maybe passes completed and, the intensity maybe that the guys are running at. But, certainly to feed back that information and in quite a few different areas as well seems very interesting, yeah.
This kind of insight into a game might not be for everyone, but it is becoming a more prominent feature across all levels of sport as major companies continue to experiment with where to take this technology next. Angela Barnes, Sky News.
Stick around for our games review. In just a few minutes, we've got an 80s throwback adventure.
James, please.
But before that... So let's talk about why we're at an airfield in Wiltshire right now. Come and meet wingsuit pilot Fraser Corsan, who's getting ready for one of his final training jumps before he attempts to break 4 world records later this month. Fraser, before we go any further, I know you've got a lot to show us. What are your 4 world records that you're going to try and break?
So we're looking to break 4 world records for high altitude wingsuit flight, which cover the altitude itself, so 40,000 feet. Secondly, we're going to go for the longest time ever flown, free fall. On top of that, we're flying for distance. So the longest distance between 2 points, we're looking to fly for 20 miles A to B. Speed, we need to fly over 238 miles per hour, so roughly the same speed as a Ferrari F50 or a Bugatti Veyron.
You say we, but basically this is you on your own in a suit.
It is me at the end, at the sharp end, but there's a massive team behind us.
Fraser will attempt to break all 4 records across 2 separate jumps later this month in the US and Canada. The advanced wingsuit he'll be wearing is made from compressed layers of microfiber to help him survive temperatures that would feel as low as minus 137 degrees centigrade. He'll also be carrying 45 minutes worth of oxygen with him. So talk us through some of the technicalities of the suit and how this is going to help you achieve those records.
So this is currently the most advanced suit in the world. This is the Phoenix Fly Vampire Alpine. As you can see, it's pretty massive. It has a bunch of elements within it which allow me to fly effectively. So I'll just show you a couple of bits.
Yeah, so you've got another one over here ready to show us.
We have a backup simply because with all the planning we've done, if there was any damage to this suit, we need to make sure we have a backup solution. So this is an identical suit to the first suit. And as you can see, first of all, it's very big. What that means is the surface area gives me a huge amount of lift.
Pockets in the suit allow air to rush inside and inflate it so he can glide forwards through the sky rather than fall straight down. While he's in the air, he'll be aided by audible and visual altimeters, plus GPS technology so he can track his height and position while communicating with his team on the ground. And then there's his parachute, plus the reserve. Why would you not be able to deploy your parachute?
Worst case scenarios, my hand's too cold. I can't actually initiate to actually grab and hold that myself and deploy. Or I'm unconscious because my oxygen systems had failed. It then also knows my speed in freefall. So if I'm falling above a certain speed, it will actually fire off a small explosive charge, which fires a razor blade down a tube, which cuts that tiny piece of cord that you can just see there. And what that does is it allows this flap to come up. And this ring you see here is a large compressed spring. Around that spring is a pilot chute, which is essentially the same as this pilot chute, but with a spring on it, fires off my back and pulls my reserve parachute out for me.
Fraser's doing the gravity-defying challenge to raise money for SAFA, the Armed Forces charity. Today, for one of his final training jumps, he'll be flying alongside former soldier Rory McKenzie, who's doing a tandem skydive. Is it true this is your first jump today?
This is absolutely my first jump.
Have you been inspired by Fraser?
I was very jealous when I heard what he was doing, and I said, I want to come jump with you.
Rory, who lost his leg in Basra 10 years ago, is one of SAFA's beneficiaries. The Armed Forces charity says all money raised from Fraser's record attempts will go towards supporting anyone who is serving or has ever served in the British Armed Forces and their families. If Fraser breaks the speed and altitude records, he'll become the fastest man in the world moving without machinery and flying higher than commercial planes. And we all wish Fraser the best of luck in his world record attempts later this month. But now we're going to fly you back to the studio because here's Gav with this week's Games Review.
So Spaceplan is a fun distraction game. Now what that kind of means is it's something good to have on in the background. Basically, you're in space, you're on a planet, you don't know why, and you have to generate power. I guess find out why you're there, but as you generate power, you can engineer things to help you generate more power, which means you have to click a lot less, because that's the thing with distraction games, you just end up clicking quite a lot. And the story is actually the thing that sets this apart from other distraction games, because it's actually really funny. Which I wasn't expecting at all, because a lot of distraction games, they are just there to be clicked on, whereas this, it feels like there's a little tiny bit more to it. So it's not an amazingly immersive game, but it is good to have on, maybe in the background while you're at work, although I guess that depends on where you work. Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast is this sort of mobile arena battling game which is skinned like Iron Maiden. Like, you have Eddie, the sort of famous mascot of Iron Maiden, in all his different guises along the years, and you enter an arena and you battle. It sounds like something that a band would just release just to, because a little bit of fan service, but it's actually made by people who really know what they're doing, but they also properly love Iron Maiden as well. And also, like, as a games player, it's a really sort of deep game for a mobile thing, which I just wasn't expecting at all. The reason I've gone back to it is because there's been some really massive updates, including a PvP arena. And to have that kind of PvP experience on a phone is pretty amazing. And you get to listen to Iron Maiden while you fight people, so that's pretty good. Stories Untold is this weird sort of 80s throwback interactive story, but it is a very interactive story. It's kind of 4 chapters, all different themed around different things, and it's really hard to talk about what goes on in them without spoiling it. But it's not kind of just like a weird like point and click thing. There's so much going on, and it's actually really, really creepy. Like, the first time I really played it was in a bar full of people playing along at the same time, and it didn't, having people around didn't make it any less creepy. Chapter 3 in particular is one that really has stuck with me. It goes in some weird directions, and it's kind of like a game within a game. If you're a fan of things like The Thing or Stranger Things or anything like that, or like really like cool 80s things, you're gonna love this game. And if you can work out exactly what's going on, please let me know, because I've played it through twice now, and I kind of still am a bit confused.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Thank you for watching, and remember, you can see any of our Swipe episodes on demand in all the usual places. And you can follow us on Twitter @SkyNewsSwipe, then you can see what we get up to throughout the week. I'll be back again next time. I hope you can join us then. Bye-bye.